Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. It is an absolute honor and a blessing to be back with you today. Again, we'll probably have a few trigger warnings, but for now, let me introduce myself. My name is William Patrick Moore. It's my government name. Also known as A cubed 13. That's my God-given name. And Trick O'More. That is my pen name. All right. So today, I wanted to talk about how perfect it was again. Man, dude, we were out there in the elements, you know? Dude, I got spiders everywhere, okay? I had to call Moxie Pest Control. Man, I'm putting them to work. I don't know what's going on in Franklin, Tennessee, but man, the webs, you know? As we go through Lionsgate and Metatron's Cube, you know, I think it's important to recognize these things as signs, okay? And it really brought home the point of health and investments, okay? What is wealth and what are investments, okay? When I look at wealth, like eternal wealth, I look at health, okay? And that's super important to understand here, okay? Because in order to do that, we got to take care of ourselves, buddy. If you're rocking with you got a jet engine, you got to put some rocket fuel in that beast. You know what I mean? So in order to do that, we need to take certain steps. Lately, I've had to absolutely cut meat out of my diet again. You know, I wanted to, entertain this thing with meat, coming from the food industry. Dude, I was selling meat like for the last, I don't know how many years. It's ridiculous. To the point like my entire family lineage probably peddled that stuff for like 150 years. Insane. You know? And like, I want you to know that it's okay to cut some of these things out. Some of these things that just aren't working for you. You know what I mean? And like, that's okay. You know, in fact, I got a phone call today from like one of my best friends. Like truly best friends. Went to college with this kid. Okay? And, unfortunately, his wife is pretty ill. And dude, my blessings go out to you. And I hope she recovers and comes back right as rain. Because, moments in this life are so brief. We really have to take care, and I wish nothing but the best for them. And I want her to make a full recovery, And like, he's talking about like all the different foods and stuff they'd have to cut out, like steak or maybe cheese. Dude, I haven't cut out cheese yet. Dude, I'm still rocking that cheese, you know what I mean? But like, dude, steak? Dude, I had to cut out steak. I'm not gonna lie. Steak is no more for me. I don't think I'll probably ever be able to eat it again. And it's kind of sad, right? But like, at the same time, dude, a baby bird does not need to be told what to eat. Okay? It just knows. And shout out to that, like, baby bird, for teaching us a new way, It might have the occasional McDonald's French fry, but that doesn't mean it's right. You know what I mean? Because it didn't intend for it. It just looked like a stiff worm. You know what I mean? Like, there's no judgment here, folks. And I'll be completely honest, once I change my health around, dude, my dreams, my vision of certain things, dude, off the chain, dude. I think I've actually broke through like a life hack. I've never been one to be able to like sleep for a full stretch. We're just not doing it. I can't do it. Because, like, something in my dream will wake me up and I'm like, boom, we got to get up. We got to do stuff. I've got things to do. This is boring. I'm the doer in the body, you know? And then it clicked. Dude, I finally figured out my names. And maybe you can figure out your names too, you know? In uniting your triune body, you know? And like, I just rattled them off, right? Like, you know, William Patrick Moore. That's the doer in the body, okay? And then A cubed 13, that's my knower, okay? This knows everything. It's crazy. I am concerned for how much I know. It's scary, folks. Or like Trico Moore, that's my thinker. And it's so much easier to pin a label on these things and become intimately familiar with them so you know which body is at work, you know? And eventually, they all unite, you know? And it became clear, you know, over the last, I don't know, because I take little cat naps, right? I'm not really sleeping for more than like 3 hours at a stretch, ever. It's because it gets too boring. But I could take 3 naps a day, though. You know what I mean? We're still getting all that sleep. Not hurting my triune body, you know? We're still getting rest. But every time I wake up, I'm that much more fresh, you know? And maybe I want that for you, too. And lately, like I said, dude, these dreams have been crazy. Like, I've had people in my life, or, you know, the ones that I just hadn't recognized, asking me to sign lifetime contracts. I'm like, what's this all about? You know, like, I didn't sign up for this. And like, it got me thinking, dude, maybe other people are being afflicted with this same thing too. And I want you to have the best opportunity going forward to be aware of these things and to see these things and to know that as this triune light body, you know, living in the ether, which everyone like routinely writes off, like, this is a joke. This isn't a human condition, you know, with spiritual identities. Because, like, dude, lifetime contracts, that's a long time, you know? So I want to give you the opportunity to maybe have these visions of clarity as well, you know? And in order to do that, what really kicked this up into a notch was not only like frequency of naps, but also like increasing health. Okay? Dude, the number one hack is literally having a juice, you know, in the morning maybe. But like beyond that, man, we're whipping up a potion in my blender. Shout out to Kuvings. You know, that vacuum sealer cooler or blender rather. And dude, I got a couple things lined up here. So I'm going to save the best for last, okay? First, creatine monohydrate. I'm not affiliated with Raw in any form, but like, is at Walmart, okay? We're rocking Wally World. And this stuff is key. I'm always doing 10 grams of that stuff. And I could say I finally got my nutrition dialed because I am finally diced to the socks without like any weird stomach issues. Crazy energy, folks. I mean, I actually have to like limit my caffeine intake to the point where I might actually have to completely cut out caffeine, as ridiculous as that sounds, okay? Collagen, okay? This is the only thing that I have, right? Can I turn it around the right way? collagen peptides. The only thing that would be considered like from a meat derivative, okay? This is so important for your skin, though. Is nothing to write off. And Orgain, I mean, like, again, that might have been at Costco or something, but it's unflavored, solid. I always do like 40 grams of that stuff. We double it. We double that intake. Dude, never put what they have on the label. Dude, we always kick that up. Next one. Garden of Life protein powder. Dude, this is at Walmart. This is the best. This is the best, and this is the bomb, okay? When I'm saying it's got all sprouted proteins, it's fantastic. Love that. Also, coconut water. I'm always putting like 30 grams of this stuff or 30, fluid ounces of this stuff in there in the morning. That's awesome. One that you probably never heard of. Diatomaceous earth. This is fossilized silica. Okay, I had to get this on Amazon, but you can get it there too. And probably my biggest hack is Chipotle. Dude, we are rocking 0.1% frequency in the nation. I was hoping to be like 0.001%. I'm just going to say I'll probably up there top 10 because I eat there all the time. That is it. That is a strict diet of mine. And we're rocking this Sofritas now. But like, I think it's important to know that we can only have our bearings straight if we've managed to like hone in on this nutrition thing. Because like, if you're always feeling like you're like not all there, bloated, have a gut or something, dude, it's just not the way. It is not the way to do life. And I try to get in all of my actual meals way after dark. Even with biking like 25 miles or whatever it is a day, just because I don't know. I just have it. I have this feeling, that people should be eating at night. They never say they're like, never eat before you go to bed. I think that's a bunch of crap. Okay. I always eat try to eat after 8 p.m. That's like my target timeline. So maybe this will help you digest and be a more wholesome light body. By no means am I telling you to do this for ethical reasons or that this is the only way. Because I've always experimented with diet and nutrition. This is just what works for me, folks. So if it's working for me, I wouldn't be doing right by you if I didn't give you what I'm doing, okay? But as I walk around the streets of Tennessee, Franklin, Nashville, nobody looks like me, dude. Everybody looks a little, like, not good, okay? I don't drink at all. Drinking calories is just, I'm not going to say it's bad, but I don't think it's good, And I've never felt good drinking, okay? And it's not because I've got a drinking problem. It's just coming from sales. Dude, every customer, and I love, working with a lot of people I've worked with, but they drink such an offensive amount of alcohol, even coworkers, that and spending so much money on expenses, on alcohol, I kind of find it repulsive now, completely, ultimately. It's kind of disgusting, dude. So, being that I want to be more of what I think could be maybe better, I just cut that out, It's not worth it. Plus, I don't like being altered, I'm a little too dialed in for that right now. You know what I mean? We got too much to do. I've got too many projects, okay? So, just offer this as maybe an option that you wouldn't be the only one out there cutting these things out I'm 38. I've had my fun. I've done a lot of stupid crap. I mean, I used to drink in excess when I was younger, right? I think we all did. And nothing good ever came from it. You know? Ever. And I've got stories for days. It doesn't matter. Because the past doesn't exist. Okay? The future doesn't exist. Okay? Right now exists. And you have a choice to do what you want to do right now. And nobody's going to judge you. Well, at least I won't. So, there you go, folks. That's an opportunity, okay? To do whatever you want to do and not feel judged, okay? Because I'm doing it too. And once I got this clarity, I was able to see that health is literally eternal wealth. Literally. You can't buy it, okay? You may go and try to get it snipped, clipped, vacuumed out, injected, whatever you have to do to try to lose this weight. But you know what? The only thing that gets you there is doing the right steps, taking that initiative, okay? And while you start taking this initiative, you start learning this thing called discipline, okay? Where you don't need these things. You start to crave what makes you feel good. All these things are lying to you. Like these sugars that you have dreams about, the floating cheesecake, whatever it is. And you're like, yes, I need that thing. You don't, okay? It is a antithesis to your existence, whether you choose to believe that or not. Everybody's like, oh, just live a little. They want you to do this because they don't feel comfortable making choices that are right for them. So if you compromise your identity and you compromise your health for the people around you, they feel more comfortable being inferior to the light body that they're supposed to be. Okay? And fitness isn't a choice. Okay? The first thing I do when I get up is a fitness routine, dude. I do body squats. Okay? Do calf raises. Don't even need to do weighted calf raises. Okay? We're doing hundreds of push-ups. We're doing dips. Okay? Pull-ups. Back raises. All these things so your nightmares don't become a reality. Okay? And that you're lifting your light body. And after a while, you'll notice that your light body becomes lighter. Okay? And actually, for the first time, I actually had the hardest time buying pants this week. I went to the mall. 28-inch waist was a little loose. And that was the smallest size they had on the rack. It's crazy. Actually crazy. And I'm not trying to lose weight. I'm just trying to get in all my calories after 8 p.m. And I'm drinking my potion here in the morning. And I can do that during the day and not feel all bogged down. Have those blended fruits, maybe a fruit juice, and not feel bad. But after a while, your light body becomes light. Walking becomes easier. Energy becomes literally infinite. Absolutely crazy energy. Dude, I'm filming right now close to 1 p.m. In fact, I just heard my watch. It is, I can't even get it in here. It is 1 p.m. Okay? And I'm going to be up at 5 doing my routine. Okay? And I will never feel tired. And I will never lack energy. I'm not going to have to go and buy a 5-hour energy. I'm not going to have to go and drink an energy drink. And it's because of this routine. And plus, if you're taking more naps, you have more opportunities for this thing, clairvoyance, which has been like a new thing to me, right? Or at least I've only become recently aware of it. Okay? And once you get all this discipline, and once you find this light body, you will notice that that is eternal wealth. Okay? What nobody can buy. The guy in the Bugatti or the Lamborghini, they're miring you, okay, for the thing they can't buy, okay? Their materium is failing them, okay? And anybody can achieve this. Yet, I don't see anybody doing it. So I want to give you the opportunity to know that wealth and infinite, like energy, is 100% attainable with like no money, okay? And you can't buy it, ever. It's a discipline, folks. And like, like when I think of investing comes from people, okay? When you invest in the right people, they're not going to make you money, but they're going to teach you ideas. They might share knowledge. And knowledge, you can confirm easily if you've united your triune light bodies. And you can actually have meaningful conversations and understanding. And that is a lesson that can't be taught anywhere, okay? So when you find your best friends and your soul tribe, you could truly identify with these people. Because we like to wear masks, folks. We like to water things down to make people feel comfortable. I'm done with the comfortable conversations. They're not interesting. Is it raining? Did you see the news today? Dude, none of these things are real. You're peeping through a window, keeping other people who aren't light bodies in energy mode. You know what I mean? You're giving them constant emotion, and like, it's not necessarily maybe a path that you wanted to go down. So I'm just giving you ideas of other places you might be able to go. And like, man, I saw so many butterflies today. And like, I saw so many of those cicadas last night. Dude, they must like use my home as like a breeding like ground, because I have to go knock those things off my brick walls, in the morning. Just, they're kind of gross, man. Like, I've only seen a couple of those things like crowning, and is like, ugh. I mean, nature's perfect and all, but like, that's a special one, folks. I don't know. It's a little strange to me. But the caterpillar, I totally identify with. And I see all the, the end result, the butterfly everywhere. And maybe this is your butterfly effect, man. Like, maybe this is the way to kind of show you that we can shed the old and transform into the new. Because if you're the same person you were 3 years ago, I'm sorry to say, you haven't grown at all. And I don't necessarily think that's a good thing. You know what I mean? Because we're changing constantly, or at least we should be, or at least want to change. So I just kind of want to throw this out here and just let you know that it's okay to be a little different. Dude, everybody judges me when I'm like, nah, I'm going to have water, or nah. Because I cut out soda too. That aspartame. I was addicted to Diet Coke for so long. Man, we always had Diet Coke growing up, and like, it took me like 35 years to shed that one. And there's just a better way. So now we're on like unsweet iced tea, okay? And I'm cool with that, you know? And good things are happening. A lot of good things in my life are happening now. And I truly think it's because of like health in the form of wealth, and investments in the right people. Because eventually these things will pay dividends, folks. Eventually you're going to get some real truth. Real things are going to come out. And you don't have to wear this mask. It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? I had to be careful because sometimes I'm a little too real with people. I don't want to like create an entire dark night of the soul, with some people who just are not ready for it, But if you're listening to this, most likely you identify with that too, And you're okay with that. You're okay with being a little different. You're okay with trying something new. Maybe growing a little bit, And I want you to know that I'm going to be out here growing with you too, folks. Because, dude, it's 2025, okay? We've lived up to this moment for a reason, to be the face of the change in the world that we need to see. My soul tribe. See you tomorrow. Peace.